The hologram flickered and died. Mace Windu stood alone in the Jedi Temple's communications chamber, his jaw tight, his hand trembling ever so slightly. Anakin's words still echoed in his mind. Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord. The revelation burned through him like a lightsaber through Durasteel. Everything made sense now. The endless emergency powers, the manipulated clone wars, the political maneuvering that had slowly strangled the Republic from within. Palpatine was Darth Sidious. Mace's first instinct screamed at him to move, now, immediately. Gather the council, storm the Chancellor's office, end this before the Sith Lord could escape or activate whatever endgame he'd been planning for over a decade. But something held him back. He thought of Anakin's eyes, that wild, desperate look. The young Jedi had been unraveling for months, plagued by visions, drowning in attachment and fear. And now he'd just delivered the most dangerous intelligence in galactic history, yet seemed more afraid than relieved. Mace closed his eyes and reached out through the Force. He felt it then, the dark tremor rippling through Anakin's spirit. The boy was a hair's breadth from breaking. One wrong word, one perceived betrayal, and they would lose him forever. But there was another presence, distant but approaching fast. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the one Jedi Anakin trusted without question. The master who had raised him, fought beside him, believed in him when others doubted. If Obi-Wan stood with them when they confronted Palpatine, Mace opened his eyes and made his decision. He would wait. Just a few more hours. It was the most dangerous gamble of his life, but perhaps the only way to save Anakin's soul and the Republic in one strike. He activated his comlink. Kit Fisto, Agent Kolar, Sacy Tin, meet me in the council chamber. We have much to discuss, and we must wait for one more. Obi-Wan's starfighter touched down on the temple landing platform as evening fell across Coruscant. He climbed out, exhausted but relieved. Grievous was dead. The Separatist leadership was fracturing. After 3 long years, the Clone Wars might actually be ending. Master Kenobi, a young Padawan, rushed forward. Master Windu requests your immediate presence in the council chamber. It's urgent. Obi-Wan's relief vanished. What's happened? I don't know, sir, but it involves Anakin. Across the city, in a luxury apartment overlooking the Senate district, Anakin Skywalker stood at the window, his reflection ghostly in the transparent steel. His hands shook. It had been 6 hours since he'd told Mace about Palpatine. 6 hours of waiting, of wondering, of drowning in the vision of Padme dying in childbirth, screaming his name. Annie, Padme's voice came softly from behind him. You're trembling. What's wrong? He couldn't tell her, couldn't explain that the one man who'd offered him hope to save her was a Sith Lord, and that the Jedi he'd trusted his whole life were preparing to kill that man. Nothing, he lied, just tired. But it wasn't nothing. Palpatine had been so kind, so understanding. He'd never judged Anakin for his fears, never demanded he suppress his emotions like the Jedi did, and he'd promised there was a way to save Padme. What if the Jedi killed him before Anakin learned how? What if Mace was wrong? What if this was all a misunderstanding? His comlink chirped. Anakin grabbed it desperately. Yes? Anakin. Mace Windu's voice was cold, controlled. Come to the temple. Obi-Wan has returned. We're moving against Palpatine within the hour. The transmission ended. Anakin stared at the device in his palm. 1 hour. 1 hour to decide who lived and who died. The Senate building's executive corridor stretched before them like a path to judgment. 5 Jedi Masters moved in formation. Mace Windu led, his expression carved from stone. Obi-Wan Kenobi walked at his right, tired from Utapau, but centered, ready. Kit Fisto, Agent Kolar, and Sacy Tin flanked them, hands near their lightsabers. Remember, Mace said quietly, Palpatine will not surrender. The Sith never do. Obi-Wan nodded. When Mace had explained everything, Palpatine's true identity, Anakin's involvement, the visions plaguing his former Padawan, Obi-Wan understood immediately why waiting had been necessary. Anakin needed to see them united, needed to know this wasn't revenge or a power grab, this was justice. The office doors loomed ahead. 2 Red Guards stood watch, ceremonial weapons raised. "Stand aside," Mace commanded. The guards didn't move. Kit Fisto's lightsaber ignited, a brilliant green flash. The other Jedi followed suit, 5 blades humming with lethal purpose. The Red Guards fell in seconds. Mace keyed the door override. The entrance hissed open. Chancellor Palpatine sat behind his desk, hands folded, his face a mask of gentle concern. "Master Windu, Master Kenobi, what a pleasant surprise. To what do I owe?" "You are under arrest, Chancellor." Mace's voice cut through the pretense like a blade. "We know what you are. Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith." For one heartbeat, silence filled the room. Then Palpatine smiled. It wasn't the warm, grandfatherly expression the galaxy knew. It was something ancient, hungry, evil beyond measure. "Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?" His voice had changed, deeper, colder, dripping with malice. The temperature dropped, the lights flickered, the Force itself seemed to scream in warning. Obi-Wan felt it then, the sheer ocean of darkness radiating from the man before them. And somewhere behind them, dark footsteps echoed in the corridor. Anakin was coming. Anakin burst through the doorway, breathless, desperate. "Stop!" 5 lightsabers remained ignited. Palpatine stood behind his desk now, hands raised as if in surrender, his face a portrait of wounded innocence. But it was the 6th figure that made Anakin's heart stop. Obi-Wan. His master stood beside Mace, blue blade humming, his expression grave but certain. Not angry, not afraid, just resolute. "Anakin." Obi-Wan's voice was gentle. "I'm glad you're here." The words hit Anakin like a physical blow. He'd expected Mace to be alone, or perhaps with council members he didn't know well. He'd convinced himself this was Mace's vendetta, the Jedi Order's jealousy of Palpatine's power. But Obi-Wan had just returned from killing Grievous, from ending the war. He had no reason to be here unless it was true. "Anakin, my boy." Palpatine's voice trembled. "Thank goodness you've come. These Jedi, they mean to kill me, to take control of the Republic. You must help." "He's lying, Anakin." Obi-Wan took a step forward, his eyes locked on his former Padawan. "I know he's told you things, promised you things, but Palpatine is Darth Sidious. He orchestrated the entire war, manipulated both sides. Thousands died because of him." Anakin's hand drafted toward his lightsaber, but he couldn't move, couldn't think. "Master, He promised to save Padme, didn't he?" Obi-Wan's voice cracked slightly. "I know you're afraid, Anakin, but the dark side only destroys. It can't save anyone." "You told him?" Anakin's voice was raw, betrayed. "No," Mace interjected. "He told us everything himself, because he trusts you, because we all do." Palpatine's expression flickered, just for an instant, and Anakin saw something beneath the mask, something cold, something evil. Then lightning exploded from the Chancellor's hands. Blue lightning screamed across the office. Agent Kolar's blade caught the first burst. Sacy 10 deflected the second. Kit Fisto's green saber absorbed the third. The Jedi moved as one. Sidious, launched himself forward, twin red blades igniting in his hands with a hellish scream. His attack was a blur of impossible speed and malice. But Mace was ready. Vaapad met Sith fury head-on, purple against crimson. The impact shook the room. Obi-Wan struck from the side, Saurus's defensive perfection becoming a counterattack. Sidious twisted, blacked, hissed in frustration. In the original timeline, the Sith Lord had killed Kolar and Tin in heartbeats, but now they fought with purpose, with coordination, Mace's ferocity driving Sidious back, while Obi-Wan's precision cut off escape routes. Kit Fisto pressed the attack from the left, Sacy 10 flanked right.
5 against 1. "You cannot win," Sidious shrieked, his face contorting into something monstrous. "I am the dark side." "You're outnumbered," Mace growled, his blade a purple storm. Sidious unleashed another torrent of force lightning, stronger this time, wild and desperate. The energy tore through the office, shattering windows, melting furniture.
But the Jedi held. Their blades formed a barrier of light, absorbing the darkness, reflecting it back. Anakin stood frozen near the doorway, watching in horror and awe as the two sides of his life collided. Palpatine, the kind mentor, was gone. In his place was a creature of pure hatred, screaming Sith curses as he fought for his life. And the Jedi? They weren't angry, weren't cruel. They were just doing what had to be done. Obi-Wan's blade found an opening. It sliced through Sidious's left hand. One lightsaber clattered to the floor. The Dark Lord stumbled back, golden eyes blazing with rage and something else. Panic. Mace Windu raised his blade for the final strike. "Anakin!" Sidious screamed. "Help me! Anakin, help me!" Sidious's scream echoed through the shattered office. Anakin's hand gripped his lightsaber. His heart hammered. Every instinct screamed at him to move, to act, to do something. But then Obi-Wan turned. Their eyes met, and in that gaze Anakin saw everything he'd ever needed. Not judgment, not disappointment, just faith, trust, love. "It's okay, Anakin," Obi-Wan said softly. "You don't have to be afraid anymore." Padme's face flashed through Anakin's mind, her smile, her warmth, the life growing inside her. Palpatine had promised to save her, but Palpatine had also orchestrated a war that killed millions, had manipulated him, had lied about everything. And Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan had never lied to him, not once. Anakin's hand released his lightsaber hilt. He took a step back. "No," Anakin whispered. Sidious's expression twisted into pure hatred. "You fool!" The Sith Lord hurled one final blast of Force lightning, not at the Jedi, but at Anakin himself. Obi-Wan moved faster than thought. His blue blade intercepted the attack, absorbing the deadly energy inches from Anakin's chest. The impact drove Obi-Wan to one knee, but he held firm. "I've got you, old friend," Obi-Wan said through gritted teeth. That was all Mace needed. His purple blade descended in a single, clean arc. Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, architect of the Clone Wars, the shadow that had haunted the galaxy for decades, fell. The lightning ceased. The darkness recoiled. The office fell silent, except for the hum of lightsabers and heavy breathing. Anakin collapsed against the doorframe, tears streaming down his face. "I almost," he choked. "I almost." Obi-Wan deactivated his blade and pulled Anakin into an embrace. "But you didn't," he said. "You chose right. You chose the light." Outside, across Coruscant, 1,000,000 clone troopers waited for Order 66, an order that would never come. The Senate chamber erupted in chaos. News of Chancellor Palpatine's true identity spread through Coruscant like wildfire. Senators screamed accusations. Some fled, others demanded answers. But the Clone Wars were over. Without Sidious's command, the Separatist Council surrendered within days. Across the galaxy, clone troopers stood down. Battle droids powered off. The killing finally stopped. The Republic had survived. Yet in the Jedi Temple's council chamber, 5 exhausted masters sat in silence. "We were blind," Mace Windu said finally, his voice heavy. "For 13 years, the Dark Lord of the Sith sat in the Senate, and we felt nothing." Obi-Wan nodded slowly. "We became soldiers, generals. We abandoned our role as peacekeepers and guardians of the Force. We thought we were fighting for the Republic, but we were just pawns in Sidious's game." Kit Fisto leaned forward. "The question is, why didn't we see it? How did we become so arrogant? Because we believed we were infallible. Yoda's voice came from the doorway. The ancient master hobbled inside, his ears low. 1,000 years without Sith we had. Complacent we became, certain of our righteousness. Mace's jaw tightened. The Jedi Code, our attachment to dogma, it blinded us to Anakin's suffering, to the clones' humanity, to the corruption growing around us. We told Anakin to suppress his emotions, Obi-Wan added quietly. We demanded he sacrifice his personal happiness for duty, and we pushed him right into Palpatine's arms. The room fell silent again. So what now? Sassiteen asked. We've won, but at what cost? How many died because we failed? Yoda tapped his stick against the floor. Change we must. Reform the order we will. But first, the clones. Every Jedi looked up sharply. Created as slaves they were, for a Sith plot. Their freedom, our first act of atonement must be. Luke and Leia Skywalker were born on a bright Naboo morning, under skies free from war. Anakin held his children with trembling hands, tears of joy streaming down his face. Padme smiled beside him, alive and radiant. The vision had been wrong, or perhaps choosing the light had changed everything. They're beautiful, Obi-Wan said softly from the doorway. The first children born into a galaxy at peace. Anakin looked up at his former master, his brother, and nodded. Because you believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. That's what Jedi do, Obi-Wan replied. We have faith. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Temple underwent its greatest transformation in centuries. The Council expanded to include voices beyond the traditional masters. Clone representatives, now free citizens with full rights, sat alongside Jedi. The dogmatic rejection of attachment was re-examined, replaced with teachings on healthy love versus possessive obsession. Mace Windu stepped down as a council member, choosing instead to travel the Outer Rim, rediscovering what it meant to serve the Force rather than politics. Yoda remained, but as a teacher, not a commander. Much to learn we still have, he told the younglings. Arrogance the path to the dark side is. Humility our greatest strength must be. The Senate chamber elected Bail Organa as the new Supreme Chancellor. His first act was to dismantle Palpatine's emergency powers and restore democratic oversight. The clones were granted full citizenship, land, and the choice to remain soldiers or pursue new lives. Captain Rex chose to stay with Anakin, helping train a new generation of peacekeepers. And across the galaxy, systems that had suffered under Separatist and Republic occupation alike began to heal. One evening, Anakin stood on the temple balcony, watching twin suns set over Coruscant. Obi-Wan joined him. "Do you think we'll face darkness again?" Anakin asked quietly. "Always," Obi-Wan replied. "But now, we'll be ready." Together, Master and Knight stood watch over a galaxy reborn. The Force was finally in balance.